Hi guys, so today I thought I would talk about brushes, particularly face brushes. And I know that many of you out there are like, okay, look, we get it. We've been doing makeup for a while, we don't need no brush help, which is probably true. Most of you don't. However, I do know from my years of teaching that there are some young women who are just starting off in the whole makeup journey that we love as we get older, and they may need particular help with figuring out what a face brush is, what it is used for, and if it can be applied someplace else other than where the manufacturers have deemed it necessary. For example, if you buy a blush brush, do you necessarily always have to use it to apply your blush? Sorry. No, you don't. You can use it for other things. So today when I did my makeup, what I did was I pulled every brush that I used today, just for my makeup look today, and these are the ones that I use most often. However, there are several others that I use at least on a weekly basis, and I clean my brushes every week or two, depending on how much I've used them and how much I clean them in between uses, because that too helps lengthen the life of your brushes, especially if you care for them correctly. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, so the very first brush I have is the blush brush. This is just a basic, typical blush brush. It is an EcoTools brush. You can get this anywhere. It is, I think, a powder brush, but I use it as blush because it gives you a fuller coverage and a quicker application of your blush. You know how to use it, or you should. You dip it in your brush, swirl it around, and apply it just like that. So it gives you a better idea of where your application is, how broad it's going to be, and you can just use it like that. I think, honestly, it is a powder brush, but again, I use it as a blush brush. The next one is a stippling brush. And this is a stippling brush that I use specifically if I'm going to apply a cream blush. So cream blushes are tricky a lot of the time for newbies. I use this because it gives you a lighter coverage of the makeup, and you can build on that, so that way you're not applying like a gob of it and then you're stuck with that look. So let me show you what you do. You just dip it in your blush, and I'm just using an Urban Decay blush. So you'll take it, and there's some on there, and all you do then is just tap it up. And I don't think it showed. It doesn't. So let's do that again. This is, you know, how it goes in real life sometimes. So we're going to swirl it a little bit, make sure we got a whole bunch on it. And then you're just going to tap it. And see, it's also good if you're going to do a makeup look for Halloween. Do y'all see that? For Halloween, if you're going to do like stubble, totally great for that stubble effect too. This is an e.l.f. stipple brush. e.l.f. gives you great quality products for not a lot of money. These I highly recommend for just starting off, getting your brush collection going. That way, if you get something and you don't like it, or aren't exactly sure how to use it and you need some more time, you're not spending, say, $60 on a brush when you have no clue how to use it and it's sitting there collecting dust. So the e.l.f. stipple brush. Okay, our next brush is by Bare Minerals. I used to be big in the trend of Bare Minerals and Bare Essentials. I found out that I am allergic to something that they put in the foundation. They may have redone it lately, the mineral foundation. I was just having a really bad adverse reaction to it. It was actually making my face itch and causing all kinds of problems. So I discontinued use of that for a while, but I kept the brushes. This is their tapered blush brush, and it is awesome. There's no complaints. I use this when I am applying powder to set my concealer anywhere. So if I've highlighted and I want to go in and touch that up, you know, put on another highlight or just set some powder, wherever I'm going to apply powder, wherever I'm going to set my powder, I use this brush. It gives you a little more of a defined look. Sorry if you heard that. That is my dog snoring. She's a boxer. Absolutely adorable, but she's asleep underneath my feet, so she's snoring. So if you hear that, totally okay. So I use this. It gives you much more of a control on where you're going to apply it. It gives great product payoff. The next brush is the e.l.f. blush brush, but I don't use it for that. I use it for whenever I put my concealer underneath my eyes if I'm not using a beauty blender, which is very rare. I will use this and I'll just pat it in like that and blend and blend and blend. And then once it's in and done, if I need to, I will go back in with my fingers. That's why I like a beauty blender better, but this is a brush video. So this is the very first brush I would reach for. Sigma does a really great one. It's a little bigger, and it's awesome. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just if you're starting out, like I said, I would highly, I'm having to find my brush. I would highly recommend starting off with something like this as opposed to this. This is the Sigma tapered face brush, the F25. It is awesome for getting in there. You can get in there really well. It's just so big. My problem is that if this is a basics video and it's meant for newbies, I'm not going to recommend something huge like this where you're going to be like, what? What are you thinking with this brush? Oh my God! I'm going to start you off with something smaller so you can learn how to use it, learn how to blend, learn how to get it done, and then you can go back and purchase this brush. Totally fine. My next brush is a Morphe brush. Love Morphe brushes. I honestly think I love Morphe brushes better than I do Sigma brushes, but that's just my opinion. They're both well made. They're both great brushes. It just comes down to if you're on a budget. And let's face it, nowadays most of us are on a budget. So if you're on a budget, Morphe's totally got great quality brushes at a really affordable price. I purchased these for my One Act Play kids. Last year when I taught, I purchased Morphe brushes instead of some of the other brushes, even stage makeup brushes, because the quality, these brushes are going to last and last and last. All of my girls in the play ended up with their own set of Morphe brushes, so they like them too. It was a starter set of Morphe brushes. It gave them basics. And so they were very appreciative of it. I did have to teach them how to use those brushes, and those girls know I'm not lying. It's one of those things that takes time to learn. So, with that said, Morphe brushes. This is the MB30, and this is their contour brush. Well, that's what I call it. I call it a contour brush. I don't know what they call it. I'll link it down below. But this is for using cream or powder contour. So if you have this kit by Anastasia, you can use these two. I use whatever, use whatever you want. I'm just saying, if you use these two, you can mix them. So you mix them up and you apply it, and it's going to give you such a nice straight line to where you can, let's do something darker so y'all can see that a little better. So you can, there you go. So you can control where it goes. It can give you a deeper and a more cut definition. Not deeper, but better. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. And if you don't, we'll learn. You'll learn with me. Okay? But it gives you such a control where you can apply it. That way you're not over applying. And always with contour, especially with contour, ladies, and gentlemen, I'm about that too. Thank you. Start off with less and then build to more, because you never, once it's on there, unless you're willing to take a makeup wipe and wipe that crap all off and start over, it's stuck. And no amount of blending is going to get it off, even with contour. I mean, even with Beauty Blender, especially if you've done powder, because you done screwed up. I'm just saying. I prefer cream. I prefer to start with a cream contour. That's just me. I prefer to start with cream contour and then go back with a powder to help set it. So I go really lightly with the cream. So these creams by Anastasia are the same thing, pretty much. I mean, same color payoff pretty much. Can y'all see that? As they are in their powders. And so they complement really well together. And I apply this one and then I go in with this one. I do have Smashbox contour and highlight sticks. Totally great as well. I use those often. Just because you get a better payoff as well. But back to the brush. You can blend, even if you put that contour stick on, you can blend it out with this. I personally personally love the Beauty Blender, so I apply it with this and blend all my crap out with the Beauty Blender, because Beauty Blenders will save your life. I'm just saying. Okay, so this is a fan brush, and this is a sad looking fan brush. I've had this fan brush for years. I probably should get a new one, but it's just, I love this brush. I mean, I do. It's an e.l.f. brush. It's $1 brush. $1. And you can use this to apply just a little bit of shimmer of your highlight. So that way, if, let's say that you don't want your highlight to be on fleek, you know, on fleek. So you want to apply just a little, just to give you that healthy look. Totally okay, totally into that. So you run it through. I'm using the Hourglass. See? You run it through this. And then when you apply, it's just going to give you the lightest, I don't even know if y'all can see that, the lightest dusting of color that you can possibly get. And it's totally fine. You can make it as dark as you want, which to do that, to get my highlight on fleek, I use the Morphe 510 brush, the M510. Totally great brush. I love that it's got natural bristles. It is one of those brushes that when you apply, you can swirl it around really good and apply it on there, and it's going to give you a nice, like, on fleek look with your highlighter. It just gives you a really great look, and it blends, and it makes it look really pretty. I'm just saying, so pretty. So pretty. Anyway, so it's a great little brush. Love it. Then next brush you have, well, I have, because it is my holy grail. And Morphe's got a great one. Everybody has a great one of these. But my go-to, my ride or die, my never fail, I hate to say it, is this Sigma, not hate to say it, but it's because it's so expensive, it's a little more pricey, is the Sigma F80 brush. It's just a flat kabuki brush, and it's to apply foundation. The only time I am not using one of these is if I'm shearing it out by using a Beauty Blender. So, you know, you dot your foundation on and shear it out with a Beauty Blender. Otherwise, I'm using this by applying foundation to the back of my hand, dotting that on, you know, blending it in a little bit, and then buff and blend. If you've watched Jaclyn Hill, you know. You know. And if not, I'll show you. I will be like your Jaclyn Hill. Okay, I'm dreaming. But anyway, this brush is totally fabulous. Absolutely a ride or die for any girl. It gives you a medium to full coverage. You can build your foundation with this brush. Most foundations you can build with, if it's truly a light foundation. Honestly, I would not pull for this. I would grab my Beauty Blender instead, but that's just me. Alright, another fan brush. This is a big old fluffy fan brush, and this is by the makeup school that I was going to. They sent me a whole bunch of brushes. Absolutely love this brush. I will try to find you guys one that is like this, so that way you can have your own. It's just a big, huge fan brush. You can use it for highlight. You can use it to do an overall dusting. I use it for after I cook my foundation. You know, where, okay, if you watch Patrick Starr, you know what I'm talking about. I know you do. You know. You know. And if you're not watching him, so totally watch him, because, let's be real, the dude is awesome. Awesome. Love you, Patrick Starr. Awesome. Giving you props. I used to cook my makeup. Didn't even know that's what it was called. Didn't even know I was doing it. Yes. Yes. Anyway, so you apply a lot of powder to set your foundation. Help it last longer. Help all of your makeup last longer. I use this to wipe all of that off. My last brush is my big, huge powder brush. It is by Sigma, although everybody has a big, huge powder brush. The biggest brush you can find, it's what my philosophy is. Biggest brush, it's for powder, all over powder. And this is this Sigma Large Powder F30. This is personally a little too small of a brush for me, although I do use it. It's just, it deposits so much powder. The kabuki brushes that, I'll think of it in a minute, that Bare Minerals first came out with when they first had theirs, those are the absolute best. huge powder brushes for me. I use them for powder, but I don't have any more of those. I don't know what happened to them, so I need to buy one. Anyway, so there's this. Now, this brush is a little pricey, but again, if you're sure that you're going to stay with a particular brand, or you're sure that you want to pay for a higher quality, not that e.l.f. doesn't, I mean, e.l.f. makes great brushes, but it all depends on how much money you're willing to pay. It's kind of like with everything, with makeup, with clothes, with hair, with whatever amount you're willing to pay and you're comfortable with paying, that's the brand that you shop for or shop at or whatever. I love my Sigma brushes, love them, but I can go to e.l.f. and buy a crap ton of brushes. I can go to Morphe and buy a good amount of brushes. I bought 20 brushes at Morphe for like $150, 20 brushes. So you guys really have to think about that. It's not always about your status. I mean, boys, let's be honest. If you are a status person and you want the status of having the best brushes, yeah, totally get your Sigmas. Totally. If you are on a budget and you do your makeup at home like most people do, I used to do it at school because I like to sleep and would get up late and have to put my makeup on before I started teaching class every morning. Don't judge. Then you buy whatever brush you want if you're doing it at home. I'm so old, I don't care really what people think about me. So with that said, I don't know why that keeps creeping up in that corner. With that said, I buy whatever brush I want to buy and whatever brush I'm comfortable with. I would say Sigmas are, in my opinion, some of the best brushes that are out there, but Morphe brushes, honestly, for the price, guys, the quality of these brushes are amazing, amazing. And any brush you buy, even if it's e.l.f., you can keep it like my fan brush. I've had this fan brush for like at least 6 years. If you wash them and take care of them, and I will do a video on washing and taking care of your brushes and the bacteria, then you can keep a cheap brush forever. It depends on you and what you're comfortable with. And so there's that. Anyway, I have rambled on long enough. This video is entirely too long. I'm so sorry about that. But I do appreciate you sitting through and listening. There will be another video on just eye brushes. And maybe next week, one on beauty blenders and the difference. There are different beauty blenders out there. Yes, there are. Yeah, totally. So enjoy. Leave comments, questions, subscribe. Please give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.